Welcome back traders to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be going over some setups I have for you guys, starting off with GBPJPY. Then I'll move on to GBPUSD, EURAUD, and USDCAD. Now, with this new strategy, it's not as comprehensive as my old one, which I've been using for the past several years. This strategy is much more simpler, and I'm just testing this out for the benefit of you guys, that you guys can possibly implement in your own trading. Now, last week I did test this out, and honestly, it did provide some good results. So I'm going to use that exact same strategy for this week as well, and possibly for the next week. Now, this strategy is simple, just a break retest following the overall trend, and I did make a video on this. My previous video was explaining how the strategy is used and with the trading plan and how you can actually implement it in your own trading. Now, for GBPJPY being our first setup, we want to first identify the overall trend, and obviously you guys can see we are in a bearish trend. We can also use this to the higher time frames to confirm that we are in this trend by looking at the daily and the weekly time frame. So daily time frame, you can see that price is starting to push to the downside. Weekly time frame, we've had two consecutive bearish weeks right here. Last week we did have this strong wick rejection from our level of resistance right at the top, and then the sellers automatically just came in the market, pushed price all the way back down. Now, although this is a bullish body, we do have to consider the possibility that the buyers are now starting to possibly just push into the market just a bit, but overall the sellers are still in control. Now, on the 4-hour time frame, we can identify the overall trend by looking for market structure. Now, if I were to just go on the line chart, it's easily you'll be able to easily identify this. So we have our first impulsive move to the downside, retracement, impulsive move, retracement, impulsive move, and now we had our retracement. So for currently right now, we are in the process of creating our 1, 2, 3rd impulsive move to the downside. So with that being said, I've noticed that every single time that price actually forms a level of support, we automatically happen to come up for that retest. Now, this doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it happens very, very often. So let me show you guys what I mean. When we had our first impulsive move to the downside, you guys can see we had a support level right over here. Right, so as soon as price came down, we formed that level of retracement. We formed a level of resistance right here. We pushed back down to break below this level of support. Now, if we were to just drag this over, you can see price actually came back up for that retest before ultimately pushing to the downside. Now, in my previous video, I explained that when we have a first level of rejection, we wait for the second one to confirm, and we would have entered our short position right here with price reaching our overall target at the bottom. Now, the same thing happens again where we have a level of support right here. Price pushes down, breaks below. We came up for that level of resistance. We had our first rejection right here, second rejection, and we would have entered off of this candlestick right here, and we would have currently been sitting in profit. So similar to the first break retest and the second break retest, I'm expecting the same exact thing to occur where we have our strong level of support right here, where we have support, wick support, and support here again. So I'm waiting for price to just break below this level, come up for that retest, and ultimately push back to create a new lower low back down to 130.800, as this is the next level of support. Okay, guys, so with that being said, our trade would be looking pretty good on this one, as we'd be looking for a 1 to 4.5 risk reward ratio. So we'd be looking for something like this. So we would enter off of this retest, and our stop loss would be around here, and our take profits would be around here, right? So this is a 1 to 4.50 risk reward, meaning if you're going to risk 2% on this trade, you're going to make back 8.5%. So it's a great risk reward. So GBPUSD, it looks pretty good. We're simply just waiting for this support level to be taken out, break, a retest, and confirmation, and then we're looking for that continuation to occur. Now, on GBPUSD, it's very similar to our previous setup, GBPJPY, where we have the overall downtrend in the market. We have our identified lower lows right here and the lower highs right here. We're currently sitting at a level of support while making our third impulsive move to the downside. I'm looking for price to break this level, to follow the overall trend, break this level, look for that retest, and continued push to the downside to our next level of support area right here. Now we did actually have a break below this level, but we still have to confirm this retest. And once we're able to confirm this retest and identify that the bears are now starting to step in, meaning we would have to wait for that retest and then wait for that candlestick to be a bearish candlestick before ultimately deciding to enter the short position back towards the downside. Now this, similarly to GBPJPY, I'll be looking for a break retest, continued push towards the downside, and our risk reward on this could be around 123 or maybe even 123.5, depending on how price action develops, or maybe even 124. All right, so this right here could be a very good setup. Again, so similarly to GBPJPY, we had a first impulsive move, we had a level of support right here. Where even if we took this into consideration, we had an impulsive move, we came up for that retest, we had another break towards the downside and an impulsive move. So we could have caught this move right here. So after our first rejection, second rejection, our short position would be somewhere around here, giving us an approximate around 130 pips in total if we consider this wick to the bottom as well. Now the second thing that we can look for, or the second time we could have entered, is off of here, where we had a push, we had a break below, and price was starting to act this level of support. Okay, we had this huge bearish push towards the downside, although we wouldn't have actually entered this position as price didn't come up for that retest again, but it's good to see that price continued to push to the downside and this level of resistance actually held. Now the second time is right here, where we had a level of support around this level, and right here price was having trouble breaking above. We had multiple wick rejections. Price actually did break above, but it's very simple. You guys can see that price was starting to show signs of exhaustion around this area, with a lot of wicks being thrown to the upside. Now once we formed the shooting star and closed back below this level, we could have entered a short position right here, and we could have had our take profit hit. All right, so similar to our first break retest and our second break retest, I'm looking for the third break retest to occur, where we would have our break and would come up for that retest and continued push towards the downside with a nice 1-4 risk reward. Now our third setup I'm looking for is kind of tricky, as this isn't in a trending market. We are looking for a ranging market like this. On this is EURAUD. So we have a ranging market on the 4-hour time frame, but if we were to hop onto the higher time frame, we can identify the overall trend in the market, and simply we have a downwards push, so we are in a downwards market. We had this daily key support level which was holding for quite some time, but ultimately we did break below, and we even had that retest, and now we see that price is just forming multiple doji candlesticks, just being stuck in this daily, not daily, but we have a key level of resistance at the top and an important level of support at the bottom. So for this, I have two scenarios that could play out. The first one is we have a push towards the upside. We can look for rejections around here, and then we can look for that short position back towards the downside. But the more preferable position I would be looking for right now is if we were to actually break this level of support, come up for that retest, and then we can look for that short opportunity back towards the downside. Now this right here could be a good trade as well, as we would be looking for a nice risk reward ratio of around 1-3 or maybe even 1-3.5. So EURAUD is what I'll be looking for. I'm looking for either price to come up, reject, or for price to come back down, break, and then retest this level of resistance. Now the last setup I want to share with you guys is a USDCAD. Now on the daily time frame, you can see we are overall in a bearish trend, where we have a break towards the downside of the consolidation. We didn't quite have this retest right here, but we still managed to break below. We formed an impulsive move, but right here, as you guys can see, we had a momentum switch. We had a an indecision candlestick, and we see that price was holding at this level of support. We pushed up, and then we priced again. So sellers tried to take control of the market again, but price failed to continue to push to the downside. Rather, we held at this level of support, and then we continued to push up. So we could potentially identify this being a new bullish market structure, where we have an impulsive move to the upside, a retracement, and now our second impulsive move to the upside. Now with the impulsive move being pushed to the upside, I would like to see this level being met before looking for either a short or maybe even we could come up for that retest again of the daily key level. Now we do have to be careful on this one, as we are still in an overall bearish trend, but with the current price action we could possibly see a reversal take place. Now we have this strong level of resistance at the top right here. Price was able to break above with this nice shooting star formation. So this setup is very similar to GBPUSD in a sense that we actually had a break of our support slash resistance. In this case, we broke our resistance. So what I'll be looking for right now is a simple break. I'll be looking for that retest continuation to push towards the upside, and I'll be looking for 1.37450 to be reached. But we have to confirm that this is going to hold. If price happens to break below this level of resistance or support, we'll have to wait for price to either come back down here and then look for a break or bounce scenario. But for USDCAD, if we were able to maintain above this level and we see that price is starting to push towards the upside, we could enter off of the retest, and then we can look to have a nice risk reward ratio on this of potentially of around 1 to 3, or maybe even 1 to 2.5. All right, guys. So USDCAD happens to be a good setup. EURAUD, GBPUSD, and GBPJPY. I'll be keeping an eye on all of these setups, and I'll be giving daily updates in my Telegram channel. So click the link, or you guys can just search up Forex on my Telegram, and you'll be able to see my channel. I have almost around I believe 26,000 members now. So I hope you guys join that, and I'll see you guys in there.